Hello and welcome to Made by Boo. My name is Shannon and here is my little area where I will talk about what I'm working on. Today I have 2 finished objects, 3 works in progress, a little bit of new yarn. So we'll dive right in. All I really have today is knitting, and it's actually a little bit sock heavy. So let me get out some of my various tags here. So the first of 2 finished objects, I do have a few ends to weave in, is 1 pair of self-striping yarn. I say weave in. I always weave in the ends, block, and then I clip them afterwards. So I have to go back in and clip my strings. This yarn is from Desert Vista Dye Works. It is on their Viso base, and it is the colorway Lisa Frank. So I finished these about a week ago. It's just my basic vanilla sock pattern. I did 1x1 rib. I didn't count how many rows I did. I just did through 1 stripe pattern, then did stripe pattern and about a half, and then kept going until I got to a rounded toe. And then, of course, just made the other sock match. And it ended up, if you look at the stripe pattern, I ended up ending where all I had to do was pull off a little purple to start at the next one. So that worked out perfectly. So that is finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is also a pair of socks. This is using yarn from Lady Pearl in the colorway Calypso's Birthday. These ones are actually not for me. I wanted to kind of mail them out, but then I knew they wouldn't have enough time to get to my mother in time for Mother's Day anyways, and so I just saved them for an extra day for filming, and I will be mailing these out. She already knows they're coming, so them being a little late for Mother's Day, she's not going to be too disappointed. These are also just vanilla socks, 1x1 rib for 20 rounds, and a heel flap and gusset, and rounded toe. I don't do a lot of patterns for socks typically. I do like the simplicity of a vanilla pair of socks, which some of what I have as a work in progress will kind of make it seem like that's not true, but we'll dive right into the next one. So those are my 2 finished objects. There's not a lot to say about them. My next work in progress, let me grab the tags. So again, I did say this is going to be a little sock heavy. I actually have 2 pairs of works in progress socks right now. The first one is the slightly simpler one. This is using Silly Socks Flower Pop yarn from Hobie. So I traveled last weekend, and when I came home, I had what I thought was plenty to work on with these socks to get me through the week. I was wrong and finished the socks on Tuesday and needed something like quick to grab, and the other pair of socks I had going was not in a travel state, if that makes sense. So I grabbed one of these balls of self-striping yarn. Oh my gosh, sorry. Lost the tag for a second there. I'm apparently all over the place. The Silly Socks from Hobie is a 75% wool, 25% polyamide. So it's not a super wash, which I may regret it later, but I really do like that sunsetty color. I just cast it on from wherever it was. I'm only sort of counting the rows right now. A lot of times if I'm doing a self-striping yarn, I'm not necessarily counting the rows. I am just trying to make the 2 socks match. So this was just because I needed a very simple vanilla sock to work on, and I didn't have one. It will probably back burner a little bit because my other pair of socks is now at a travel point. And these ones may stay until it's not again. I'm not sure. It was an impulse cast on, so I don't really have much of any urgency on working on it, just kind of a, okay, well, now these are going. So yeah, not a lot exciting to say with that one either. I did 1 by 1 rib until the color change, and then I will go until it seems long enough. I don't normally like using one color for heels on self-striping yarn, so I'll probably try to break for the heel at a point where the stripes won't look too weird, but we'll really see how that goes. All right, so the last pair of socks I have is, as usual, just out of reach. These are ones I was a little bit excited about. I finally have like a solid plan, but as you can see, this is not exactly easy portable knitting right now. So these are going to be what I'm calling them my Rainbow Connection socks. I am using the color Kermit the Frog here from Fangirl Fibers. This came in a quarterly yarn subscription, so I got 3 Muppet themed yarns in it. And this is the first one I'm actually using. I have vague plans for the other 2, but I had a bit of a push to work on these ones. And then the other yarn I am using is from the Woolly Dragon. It is the colorway Infinity Stones Rainbow Set. So it is a set of 6 minis. And then here is that Kermit colorway. I've got my camera a little closer than usual, so we'll see how all that works. So last time I filmed, I had started these. I was a little bit on the cuff, and now I am mostly through the leg. So my current plan for this pair of socks is I'm going to do the green cuff, rainbow, and then the rest of this foot is going to be green. So now to travel with it, all I need is this, and I can finish this sock. Whereas when I was doing these stripes with the 6 colors, it was just a little bit more work to travel with. And then for the second sock, I'm going to do all of the leg and through the heel in green, and then do this rainbow pattern across the foot. So they're coordinated but not matched. And I'm super excited about these Rainbow Connection socks. We have tickets to go see the Muppet movie in theaters in the first weekend in June. It will be playing around my area. And I am going to wear my Rainbow Connection Kermit socks to go see Kermit sing Rainbow Connection. And I am more excited than I probably should be, but I don't feel bad about it. So those are my quick 4 pairs of socks, 2 finished, 2 in progress. I only have one other project that really got any work this time. I did do a little bit of work on my Geo Gradient, but it was so little, like you can barely tell. So I'll probably talk about that one next time. Because I traveled, it was a lot of things like I could travel with 1 pair of socks for a weekend and I didn't need anything else. And since I was flying, that was a good thing. And then, yeah, that was it. I don't really have a good reason why I didn't work on the Geo Gradient. It just didn't quite work into my schedule much. My plan is to get some more work on it this weekend, but we shall see. So this last project is the top-down raglan shirt that I'm kind of making up as I go. I've watched a couple of different tutorials, but it's not a specific pattern. I'm just kind of hoping for the best as I go. And I am using Kremke Soul Wool Vegan Cashmere. This is a yarn that I got from Hobie. It is only available in their point store. And I had 9 balls. I am almost, I'm towards the end of ball number 4. So I should have enough. The plan is for this to be a short-sleeved shirt that I can wear all summer and or into, under something into fall and winter kind of thing. So here's how far I am. My daughter picked out this little mustache stitch marker, so that's where I was last time. So it got quite a bit done. Just last night, I split for the sleeves. I've tried it on a couple of times as I went. It probably needs longer cords, but if I'm going to try it on again. I only did a couple of rounds after splitting for the sleeves, so I'm probably going to give it, I don't know, another inch or so, because I really want to make sure that the underarm is developed before I try it on. but I don't want to go too far before I just determine if I did do enough under the arms. And then I'm holding it up backwards. That is the back. Yeah. And then I will, as long as it's still good under the arms, the plan is to go. I don't want it to be like cropped. The last shirt I made for myself ended up very long. It ended up tunic length, which was not exactly what I was looking for, and I ended up not wearing it very often. I want this to be kind of like, I don't want it to be fitted, but I don't want it to be too loose either. So I guess semi-fitted. And then the vague plan is kind of depending on how much yarn I have left. Come back and only do like a couple of inches on the sleeves. Exactly how much more I'll put on the sleeves will probably be determined once I actually get to try it on again. So that is all the knitting I have. I do have a few acquisitions that, as usual, are just out of reach. Both of my acquisitions this time are from subscriptions, but all of these subscriptions should have already arrived, so hopefully they will not be a spoiler for anybody. And after that, we'll get into the little bit of life stuff. It looks like it might be a semi-short one. We shall see how this continues to go. All right, so quickly into my acquisitions here. I really don't have a lot that came in over the last couple of weeks. The first one I have is from Fangirl Fibers. This was her May the 4th Be With You mystery set. So I have 2 yarns, some stitch markers, and my bag. The theme was, I believe, Party at Mos Eisley was how it was phrased. So this is my bag, Mos Eisley Spaceport. I know that the stitch markers are not going to necessarily focus really well, but I've got some cute little wooden stitch markers with some pictures. Half of them have pictures, the other half have quotes, which I really enjoyed. And then my 2 skeins of yarn here, last chance, but as this came out for May the 4th, Star Wars Day, it's been a week or so. Like, I feel like everybody who is going to get it probably already has it. So these are my 2 colors. This purple one is called Party at Mos Eisley, and then this color is Han Shot First. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with these. I may turn them into a pair of socks together. I may put them into something individually. I don't know. I really like the colors on these. I did get her Star Wars sets last year as well, and I really enjoyed them then. And so I'm really happy I got them again now. The other that I got is my Yarnable for May. So I have my little card. The theme was Berry Citrus Bliss. One of the first things that came with it is a big lemonade drink mix. Obviously, have not made it yet. Then there's also raspberry lemonade dip. Apparently you mix it with cream cheese and whipped topping and have it with like fruit, bagels, crackers. I have no idea when I'm going to do this, but I mean, it sounds interesting enough. And then the last thing here is handmade or woven label tags. There we go. From Sarah Hartz, and they say, "Thanks, I made it." I'm not sure what I will put these on. They are very cute. And as I knit, crochet, so like there's various things that I can put the tags on. I may put them on some things that are gifts just to kind of be a little bit silly with it. But I'm not 100% sure on that. And then the last thing, of course, in that Yarnable is the yarn. So the colorway is Berry Citrus Bliss. To me, this looks exactly like rainbow sherbet ice cream. I've had a vague thought of turning it into socks for one of my children who absolutely loves rainbow sherbet, but I also have some big sock plans going, and I keep ending up with so many socks going. I'm really proud of how many I'm finishing, but it's not quite how I originally planned it to be either. So that is all of the new yarn coming in. I'm trying not to have too much new yarn come in, but that doesn't always mean I am successful at not having too much new yarn come in. I do know technically, like, I'm expecting some more to be delivered on Monday from another pre-order. I just pre-ordered the Woolens and Nosh Advent Calendar socks because last year I wanted them and I missed out on them. So I made sure I did not miss out on that pre-order this time. So, I mean, even when I'm like, I'm buying less, I always have stuff on pre-order as well. So that is all of the knitting and yarn content. I do have a little bit of life stuff because, of course, I did go out of town last week, which is why I did not film last week. I traveled from where I am just outside Boise to Northern California to see my family, and we went to do the Avenue of the Giants race. It is a 10K half marathon, full marathon. I did the 10K. I have done marathons before, but it has been a very long time, and I was not even properly trained to do a 10K. Most of us who went this year were not necessarily where we wanted to be in our training. So I did have a cousin who did the full marathon, a brother who did the half marathon, and then most of us did the 10K, and even then most of us were walking the 10K. One of my nieces, she kind of went on an impulse and was able to do her first 10K ever. I ended up walking most of the time with my aunt, and that was such a lovely time. We got to talk yarn, knitting, life, everything. It was, I mean, we did a 10K, which is just over 6 miles, and it took us about 2 hours. So it was not a slow, leisurely walk, but it was definitely not a fast walk either. It was a decent pace for us at that time. And it may be silly to be a 42-year-old woman proud of my participation medal, but I got to bring home a big shiny medal. So that was fun. It was also one of the only times that I have traveled anywhere without my children. My husband stayed home because the kids still had school, and I just took the weekend off and visited people, and it was a nice quick trip. I did bring the socks to make for my mother on it, and I mean, I completed about a sock and a half while traveling over the weekend. I did not knit while on the plane. I can get motion sickness. My stomach was not having that. But I was able to knit in the airport, sitting around chatting. Basically every time I got the opportunity, I pulled it out, got some done. And that is also how she knows they are coming for sure, because I knew she'd love the color. She kind of wanted to show the color off a few times. And it also allowed me to kind of really judge the fit better while I was there, because it could be kind of one of those where it was like, okay, well, how tall do you want them, Mom? Is this tall enough? And all of the socks that I've made her in the past, I've never had that opportunity to do. So that was a little bit nice to be able to do. So that is actually all I have. It does look like it's going to be a very quick one today, but that is fine because I actually have yet another busy weekend. Traveling one weekend, then coming back and going right back into work. It means I have everything I would have done last weekend to do this weekend. So I am a little behind on everything and still working to catch up, but I should catch up pretty soon. That is all I have for now. So with nothing else to say, I guess just have a happy making.